think it's a game?
You're listening to the sound
Come on!
of DJ Mac.
All right, guys. So today I'm going to be talking to you about templates, how to create a template, and what templates are for, and why should you make a template. All right. Before we get started, please like, subscribe, and comment on this video. If you want to see any sort of explanation about Cubase, Ableton, Logic, or whatever, just leave the comments in the description. I mean, leave your comments in the comment section below, and I will definitely get to it and do a video about it. This video was actually requested by someone, so I am going to do this. They be asking me about my template, what do I use for my templates and stuff like that. So I'm gonna go to it. All right. The first thing you gotta know is, Cubase, when you open it up, it opens up like this with nothing, completely empty, whatever. I got this track so I can monitor my voice. And why would you want to work with templates? Well, there's a pro and con to templates. The pro is that you eliminate a lot of steps that you always do in a session. Like, for example, adding buses. You need a kick track, a snare track, effects and stuff like that. Folders, compression. This is always all these rules always apply to all these things. The con is that when you only have one type of template, you tend to always start the same way, and working becomes boring. So sometimes you do want to work with templates, sometimes you don't, because you want you to be just to go through the motion of doing all the little things so you can get inspired. All right, so I'm just going to walk you through what I do as far as the template that I have made right now. So I'm going to move this window right here. I got two monitors, and I'm going to close that. The first thing that I'm going to do, like, let's say if I open up, this is a blank template, like an empty template that comes with a generic standard with Cubase. So the first thing that I am going to do is I'm going to clean this up. Automatically, I don't use sends over here. I don't use the strip thing right here. I think it's cool, but I just personally don't like it. There's something about this whole real estate that I just don't like. I don't know. I don't like it. The EQ over here, I definitely do not use that. So I want to take all that stuff out. So sends, channel strip, equalizer. Sometimes I use the pre-filter, but I like to use third-party filters. The next thing that I like to do is when you open this, it only shows two. The one that you're using and the following. And then if you add one right here, a next one will show up. I like to see the whole list. So I click right here on this star, and I select the fixed number of slots. So now you see all of the slots available to put in inserts. The next thing that I do is I go to zones and I send the stereo out towards the right here. Another thing that I do is I assume everything else, everything is super tight. Instead of it being all huge like this, which I really don't like that look. Some people like that look. It's up to you. This is just me personally. I like to have it thin like that. In this situation, okay, let's just continue. Let's close this window. So now, I'm gonna need certain things. I know that I'm gonna need effects buses, and I'm gonna need regular buses, so I can start grouping tracks. So the first thing that I want to do, I want to add group channels. So I usually, not usually, but put it on stereo, and let's go for, let's say, 8. Let's put 8. Oops. Well, yeah, that was not what I meant to do. Let me undo that. Add group tracks. Let's go for 8 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. And so now we got 8. Let's just zoom this out. Okay. As of right now, notice that every time I click on a track, it auto zooms. You could get that feature by simply going over here to edit and clicking on enlarge selected track. Okay, it's very simple. If you turn that off, it's not going to zoom. I like it like that because you save real estate. So now you have all these tracks. All right. So the first thing that I want to do is I'm going to start naming these, and automatically I know that the last one should be master bus. So I call it master bus. Okay. So all of these are going to go to the master bus. So let's go to our mixing window, Before we get to that part, let's just send all these buses to the right. So again, go to zones right here and send them all to the right. So now they're being separated from all the instruments and whatever it is that I'm going to put over here. Um, Unfortunately, when you create a a template, this function right here, the Q link, doesn't just stay, or at least I don't know if it stays or whatever. But I tried it and it doesn't stay. So you turn this on. All this does is whatever you select. If you select all of these at the same time, any function that you do or whatever is on one is gonna do it to all. So in this case, I'm gonna go to routing and I'm gonna send them all to master bus. Okay, so now all this stuff is ending up over here on the master bus. Why do I do that? Because I like to have a master bus before it goes to the master output. Okay, mixing purposes. All right, so now I'm gonna name all of these. The first one I want to name it bass. Second one I want to name it kick. Third one is going to be perks. Fourth one is going to be effects. Fifth is going to be leads 1, leads 2. And the fifth one, I will call it vocals. Okay. This may change depending on what kind of arrangement I got going on. Let's say, for example, if I'm doing a mix down, or let's say I'm doing a full song with vocals and stuff like that. Of course, I'm gonna have way more buses for vocals. Like for example, for hook, the hook, the bridge, the highlights and stuff like that. So I will have all of that. But this is for production purposes. Vocals would be like a sample or whatever, some vocal pitch up and stuff like that. So that's why I'm doing that. So again, all of these are going to the master bus. The next thing that I want to do is once I have all that stuff ready, which I already do, excuse me, go back over here, close this window. I like to color it blue because they're all blue. So now it's all the same color, right? Well, I wish it was whatever. I gotta fix my color scheme on the palettes, so but it doesn't matter. Um, Now that I have that going on, now I want to add, okay, what do I use? What do I need? So the first thing I want to do is let's add instruments, instrument tracks. Let's add 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's add. Okay, so I need a kick automatically. So let's add kick. Okay, I need a snare. Then I'll put synth, bass. Okay, let's move this up over here. So that's basically like the order that I like to have things. Bass, kick, snare, hi hats, effects, and then synths or leads or strings or whatever your order it may be. All right. So automatically, okay, on the snare, this is categorized as percussion. So I am going to add some audio tracks. So let's add 4 audio tracks stereo. So now I got 4 audio tracks stereo. Okay, so on the snare right here, how do I start separating all this stuff right here? I select them all, and I'm going to start grouping them into folders. So now that I have them grouped into folders, I am going to color this color right here. So it's going to be all percussion. Oops. A good thing to find things, well, I find it very easy to work for me is that I like to color coordinate everything. I kind of like try to look at things more like an EQ, how the hottest parts are usually red, and then the lightest parts are usually yellow. So that's what I like to do. So the bass I usually color red. In this case, my palettes are not, it's not red over here, but I could simply change that by going of where is it at? Over here, holding it down. Where is it at? If I select this color, then I go to project, whatever. There you go. There you go. And I can make it a little bit towards the red. Hit OK. Oops. We do that again. Just want to be a little more solid. All right, click on that. Hit OK. Now it's a little bit darker. There you go. So what I'm going to do, just for the sakes of this video, I'm going to go to the colors scheme again. I'm going to make this one a little more reddish because it's the base. And on this one, I'm going to make it more of this color. So now it's darker. So this one can fit for the bass. This one will be for the kick. And this right here, let me just change that one real quick. This would be for the percussion. So kick. Well, it's not really red. It's more like orangey, whatever. But you know, you get the point. More close to the red. I don't like to have like that pure reddish color. I just feel that it's not too soothing for the eyes. You know, I have eyes, and my eyes are very sensitive. So I have a kick situation over here. So in most cases, I don't know if I'm going to use a plugin for the kick or I'm going to use an audio. So I usually add an audio track and I color it. I give it the color that it's supposed to be in. Again, I'm going to put it in folder and I'm going to call that folder kicks. Okay, and I'm going to color it. So now you see where I'm going with this. Bass, the same thing, I'm going to put it in its own folder. The bass. Okay, and I'm going to color it accordingly to what I'm doing. Again, I never know if I'm going to use a plugin for the bass or I'm going to use a sample. So because I don't know if I'm going to use a sample, I have an audio track to it as well. So now I have a plugin and audio track. On the kick, I have a plugin and an audio track. On the percussion, it's a little bit different because, you know, this would be I would just put this as a instrument. That's what I'm gonna write. Instrument, because I don't know what I'm gonna use. I should leave that open because I might want to use a battery. I might want to use machine. I might want to use anything that has to do with percussion. And what I usually do, I either bounce it in place as I'm working, or I just duplicate it and keep using it like that. Or if I'm getting samples from the media bay, I'll just start dropping them here. If I know that if I'm using this and this and this, and I know I'm going to use this and do more, what I usually do, I add a few more tracks, but I don't want to add too many because I don't want it to get too messy. All right. The next thing, now you got the synthesizer. I usually like to call them blue, and of course I'll put it in a folder, color the folder blue as well, and call this synth. I usually just leave one. The reason why is because I know I'm going to use way more than one, but I just leave one because just to get it started. Notice that I am not putting any instruments inside of these because I want to leave it blank. So I don't know what I'm going to use. I mean, I usually use Spire a lot and stuff like that. But what happens is when you have a particular plugin loaded, what ends up happening is that you always use that same plugin, which is that's what you're trying to stay away from. Not to use the same plugins because it's gonna gear you towards doing the same track over and over. All right, I'm missing something right here, which is effects. So let's add an instrument. So now that we have this instrument, I am going to color it. I like to color them green for effects, but this is gonna go over here. And I am going to put that in its own folder. Again, color accordingly. And of course, I want to add a couple of audio tracks, which I usually end up using about 4 to 5 effects. So I am going to add audio tracks and color them accordingly. Again, why do I like to color my stuff? The reason why is because when you have a whole bunch of tracks, you wanna be able to just see a color and be like, okay, that's that. See a color and it's that, and it's just identify your instruments and your sounds with colors. It will help you find things way quicker in your arrangement when it becomes very big. Some people, I know some people that usually have sessions that are like 100 and something tracks big. I'm one of those guys that I will push it to the limit. Like if I just want to add like a little bell, I was just making new tracks just for that. So that's just the way I work. Or until this puppy right here, which happens to be my meter, my average audio processing power, gives up. So all right, so I got this going on. I got the synthesizer, and then last but not least, audio track. I want to have a mono audio track, which is, yeah, that's just enough. And then move to a folder. I like to color these, whatever this color is. I think is pink. So this would be my vocals. This is our effects. So as you can see, everything is super coordinated. This is my template right here. Perfectly, arranged and coordinated. So now, when these are things that I know that I'm going to use. In every track, doesn't matter if it's a hip hop track, techno track, whatever. It doesn't matter. You are going to use these things. So why not already have it done so you can just skip all these steps? So now let's go to my mixing window, and now we have all these tracks. They're all color coordinated. I don't want to see this because this is the mic input, so I'm just gonna turn it off for now. There you go. So now this is what we got. Now here's is when we connect all these buses to all these tracks. So what I'll do is synth. I'm gonna send it to lead 1. Okay. The reason why I have 2 leads, let me explain that. The reason why I have 2 leads because sometimes, let's say on an EDM track or just any track in general, you may have a drop and then you may have a part where it's like a soft synth, whatever. You want to have full control of both individually. That's why I'm sending. I will have 2 of these so that on the drop, I would change this name to drop, and then this would be to break synths, drop synth. That's why. But as of right now, I'm only sending it to number 1. The effects, select all, send them to effects, percussion, send them to kick, send them to kick, and bass, send bass. So now anything that I record from now on any of these is already going to be buzzed and being sent to over here, and it's going to be all routed to the master bus, and from the master bus to the master stereo output. Like you can see, everything's super very organized. So now there are certain plugins that I know I am going to use. Now I don't want to fill up my template with a whole bunch of plugins, but I do want to add stuff that I know that it's not gonna pull a lot of weight. So automatically there's a plugin that I always use. It's called the UV2HR. Okay, this is for mastering and mixing purposes. Okay, so it's on 16th. If you don't know what this does, just don't even worry about it. I'm not even going to sit here and explain it. I mean, I spoke about this in my previous tutorials. But if you don't know what this does, just make sure it's on 16-bit and just close it and just leave it right there on the last slot. That's all you need to know. It's for mastering purposes. The next thing that I want to add is over here. I'm going to add an SSL bus. Oops, let me just put okay, buzz, and then I'm going to go to, where is it? SSL. There you go, right here. I always use this thing right here. I love this compressor. I mean, I wish I could have the other one by UA. What's it called? AU Universal Audio. Yeah, UAD. I'm sorry, but I don't have that. I don't have that kind of money. So I have the Waves, which is, it's decent. Um, and it barely, pulls any power. I mean, a little bit you can see right there, but it's just for this channel right here. But the one thing that I do is I turn it off, so now it's not pulling any power. The reason why I turn it off is because I don't, I'm only going to use this for mastering purposes. Um, in some cases, you may want to put, whatever, a limiter over here. Um, I recommend this right here, which is the invisible limiter. It's definitely not invisible, but it's definitely one of the best limiters out in the market. If you don't have this, definitely go get it. It's very cheap. It's by AOM. The company's called AOM. Just go online and look for invisible limiter. It's one of the best. I highly recommend it. And the reason why I want to use this is so it could control your peaks, as you're producing. So I have that there. The next thing that I do is usually your DAW doesn't come the way I have mine. So what you want to do is you want to right click right here and customize, and then turn on the stuff that you want and you don't want. It definitely doesn't by default, the meter doesn't, the performance meter is not up. So you definitely want to turn that on. You want to see where you at and why your DAW may be getting stuck or whatever, because it will let you know how much power you're using in your sessions and stuff like that. So you definitely want to do that. And all this stuff right here, you could just take it off or on, whatever, like the transport thing. I don't need that over here. And what else? Time display, yeah, whatever. And link group, yeah, all that stuff. Yeah, all that is good. So that's what we got so far. And let's go back to this. I mean, that's just about it. I mean, it's up to you if if you like to use a certain kick module. Like, for example, like I like to use Metrum for my kicks by Vengeance. It's an amazing plugin, a little bit heavy, like you could tell right here. So let's say you could have Metrum, and then I know a lot of people have kicks, so you could just load up kick. Oops, where is it? So you can have those two things already loaded if you want, just in case you just want to save time, and for whatever the case may be, and you have your empty track right there. So it's pretty cool to just have those things right there. On your synth, you could just pick your favorite synth, whatever the case may be, and on your instrument right here for the percussion, you could just pick either battery or machine, and I usually just have machine already loaded, whatever. In this case, I am going to actually save this this template, so but I don't want any of this stuff loaded. Why is because what I've noticed on the previous template that I have a whole bunch of whatchamacallit, plugins already loaded, is that it takes a little bit to load up. It hesitates a bit. So I don't want to have anything on. So in this case, I'm going to take off this this thing right here, and let me see what happens how much is this taking. Yeah, it's taking not taking that much. Just maybe like 2%, whatever. But most I want to have it off. The only thing that I don't care about having is this, the UV2HR. That right there stays forever. So there you have it. That is your template. Oh, and the last but not least, I almost forgot. Of course, you want to use effects. So let's add some effects. So effects channel. How many do I want to use? Can I just add a whole bunch, or it has to be just one? I guess you can just add one. So whatever. Stereo. Of course, we all need a reverb. So let's look for, I actually like Revelation. So we're gonna use Revelation. Always one thing that I recommend, try when you're adding effects and you want to load up the plugins, try to keep them try to use stock plugins like from Cubase, because they use the least performance power possible. When you start going on third parties, they're gonna use a lot of power. Not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that you should just you should just try to, as much as possible, try to stick with the stock plugins, because they're the one that's gonna work the best with your DAW. So I'm definitely gonna need a delay. So we're gonna go to Steinberg and let's do a stereo delay. Let's put that on 100%. Make sure this is at 100% as well. Yeah, that's at 100% mix. And let's add, let's add something else. Another effects, another delay. Ping pong delay. Okay, cool thing is that it puts the name right on it right away. There's a ping pong delay, 100% wet. And we have all of that as of right now. That's enough to start on whatever it is that you want to do. Put that, right? Color that up. And I like to put the effects and the groups all the way on the top. And then when you go to the mix, see, they're all going to be right here, but I want to send them towards the right, which I will do right here. And now they're all by themselves over here. Now, in most cases, I don't want to I don't want to see them. So I will just simply turn it off right here so I can have the real estate. Before I do that, I want to collect them all, and I want to send them to the master bus. Now, this could change later on. Let's say, for example, if all these three effects, I'm using them on the beat. Let's say on this would be for the snare, this would be for the kick, and whatever. Then I will send those to each individual group. So let's say if I have a snare over here that I'm sending some reverb to, then I will want to send that effect into the percussion. Okay, that's just a method of mixing. You don't actually have to do that. You could just send it to the master bus or to the stereo out, but it's way more control when you do stuff like this for mixing purposes. So now what I'm going to do, I don't want to see the effects because I know they're there. So I don't need to see them. I don't need to see those faders. So I will turn that off. This stuff right here, I do want to see. I mean, not right now, but eventually when I start my mixing process, I do want to see it. But as of right now, I turn it off so I can have all this real estate. But the good thing is that, we know it's there, which is right here, if you want to have quick access to it. And last but not least, this is optional depending on what you guys are doing. If you are working on if you're a house music producer, a dance producer, or a hip hop producer, or whatever, and you know that you're always around a certain BPM, when I produce tracks, I like to produce a lot of dance music, so I know automatically that I'm going to be in the 128 range, between 125 128 range. So I automatically just put 128. So now I have my tempo at 128. I close that. Oh, and I have the click on automatically. Because I know I'm going to need it from the beginning. And I will do that. I will do my loop right there. The last thing that I want to do is I want to add a marker track. right here, marker track, but I don't want to have it, over here, because when you start zooming out, it's going to get lost. See, it's lost. So what you want to do is go to this little corner. See this little line over here? It's called Drive Track List. Click on that, and it's going to open up a separation between tracks. So what happens is that when you go up and down here, whatever track is inside this thing is always going to stay right there. Why do I want to do that? Is because I always want to see this marker listing. Because when I draw, okay, here's the hook, this whatever, I always want to see that. Doesn't matter where I am in my session or how zoomed in or whatever the case may be. Okay. Now that we have that, I think we're just about done. Okay, I know I keep saying that, but it was one thing that I was going to do earlier. If you're a house music producer, automatically you already know that this is going to be a 1-2 step situation. So why not, double click on the region of the kick, go in there, put the quantization on 1/4, go on middle C, grab this tool right here, and just draw all those kicks in. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. There you go. So now you have the kick already built in. I mean, you don't have no plugin in there, but at least you have that 1-2 step, whatever, that boom boom boom, whatever, you know what I mean? So you don't have to do that, because you know automatically that you are going to do this. You are going to add a kick, whether it is an audio sample or it's going to be a MIDI. So you might as well just put it there. In my case, I like to do it, from the beginning. I like to have a blank canvas just so I could get a little more inspired. But it's up to you if you want to do this part. Before, I do have a template that comes with it, and I just found it like that it was distracting when I would open it up and it would just be right there. So that's why I took it off, and that's why I like it like that. All right. So now that we have all of that, what else are we missing? Anything else we're missing? Okay. Let me just rename this perk. Okay, percussion, kicks, bass. I think I want to change that color. Make it a little bit more. This one I want to make it a little bit darker. And this one I want to make it a little bit redder. It's just the other way. Is it? Let me cancel on that. This one I'm gonna make it more red. And this one a little bit darker. There you go. That looks much better. More red is the bass. This orangey type of thing will be the kick. This will be the percussion, and understand that percussion, I usually use yellow for the hi-hats, and this little brownish whatever color for drums and stuff like that. So now that I have all of this done, all I have to do is come over here, go to save as template, and starter preset. Okay, I already have one made, but I think I want to replace it with this one right here. But before I do that, let me just, this is what you're supposed to use as a marker, but I don't like using this as a marker because when you draw something, it's like it gives you this little corny thing over here, and I don't like it. So I'm just going to remove that, and I'm going to add a arranger, I think. Arranger track. There you go. The reason why is because with the arranger track, you could draw these blocks, and when you write on it, it's just more visible. think it just looks much better, at least my opinion. Let me just there you go. So now that I have this, actually, let me just fix this real quick. A large track. I don't want that. I want it to be that size. There you go. Now I can hit large track. There you go. So now that I have that going on, now when I want to save it, I go to save as template, and like I said before, I am going to overwrite this starter preset, which I already had made a while back, and I am going to replace it with the one I just created right now. So right here, and then I think it tells you where you wanted to put it right here. Okay, so you can put it in production, recording, scoring, mastering. Okay, no, that's she's giving it the name. Yeah, production. Yeah, template category is going to be in production. So when you open up your session, in a few minutes I'll explain it to you. Just hit OK. It's going to say you're going to overwrite it. Yes, I want to overwrite it. So now let's just close this. So there you go. When you went to new, you just went to production, select it, and there you have your template already created and ready to go the way you wanted it to be. I hope you guys enjoy this this tutorial. If you guys have any questions on why I do certain things or whatever, so on and so on, just feel free to leave a comment below. Please like and subscribe, and I will check you guys out on the next
You think it's a game?
You're listening to the sound of DJ Mac.